You know that feeling when you're drawn to someone you just really don't like. It's this strange friction, isn't it? That unexpected spark you find even when there's hostility.
It absolutely is, and it's often the core of some really compelling stories.
Exactly. Like the one we're exploring today, Ana Huang's Twisted Hate. You brought this book to our attention, and wow, the connection between the main characters, Josh and Jules, it just grabbed us immediately.
Oh, it's intense, right from the start.
So intense. We're going to trace their path, right, from that initial, total dislike to this undeniable attraction. Maybe figure out what vulnerabilities kind of help bridge that huge gap.
Sounds good. There's a lot to unpack there.
Definitely. Oh, and before we really jump in, just a quick reminder. Over on our YouTube channel, we have our Mindful Moments series.
Right, where we're using some AI-powered analysis to look at books like this one. It's about offering, fresh angles.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully sparking some reflections for you, encouraging a bit more critical thinking about the stories we all read and engage with.
Okay, so Jules Ambrose and Josh Chen. Their initial dynamic is just pure hostility, isn't it?
Oh, completely. Jules sees him as this judgmental, self-righteous jerk. She even calls him the spawn of Satan at one point, which is quite something.
It really is. And a lot of that seems to stem from something in the past, right? That overheard conversation.
Yeah, 7 years ago.
Couple
She heard him telling his sister, Ava, basically not to be friends with her. Ouch.
That would sting, and you can see how that just lingers, how it shapes her view of him even now. It's almost like a shield, that negativity.
A shield against what, maybe? The fact that she might feel something else underneath.
Could be. I mean, labeling someone like that definitely creates distance. And it's not like Josh is sending her friendly vibes either.
Not at all. He thinks she's a pain in the ass, a bad influence on Ava. He even compares her to flesh-eating succubi.
Wow. Okay, so the feeling is definitely mutual then. He's clearly worried about his sister, but that description is vivid.
It is. But what gets me is, even with all that bad blood, you see these tiny cracks almost immediately. Something else is there.
Exactly. That's the fascinating part. Despite all the reasons they shouldn't, there's this pull. You mentioned Jules feeling her stomach swooped for no obvious reason.
Yeah, early on. It's like her body's reacting even while her brain is screaming, no way.
Right. The body doesn't lie, does it? It suggests there's this underlying awareness, something deeper than just conscious dislike. Do you think the author put that in deliberately, like a hint?
It feels deliberate, yeah. And Josh seems to be fighting it too, despite everything he says. You see it in their argument.
Oh, the banter. It's incredibly sharp, like that whole thing over just saying thank you.
Yes, it goes from 0 to 60, arguing about who's the bigger ass. The energy they put into disliking each other, it almost feels like connection, but, twisted.
That level of intensity often does mask something else. It takes effort to hate someone that actively.
True. And then things happen that force them to interact differently, like when Jules nearly gets hit by that car.
Right, and Josh checks on her, even though he clearly doesn't like her. His doctor instincts, maybe just his basic human decency, kicks in. He can't just walk away.
And her reaction is so guarded. Is she just surprised he'd bother, or maybe scared to admit it felt okay, given their history?
Probably a bit of both. That history is a huge wall between them. Accepting care from him must feel very strange.
Yeah, it must. But then, remember after the bachelorette party chaos?
That shared experience, however messy, seemed to create, what was the phrase, a hint of understanding.
Yeah, just a hint, like it eased some of the pressure. It wasn't a big moment, but maybe a little crack in that wall we mentioned.
A definite crack. And following that, you get these smaller things, like Josh's apology at the clinic, which must have been awkward for him.
Super awkward, given how arrogant he usually is with her.
Yeah.
But significant.
The cupcake. The truth cupcake.
The salted caramel, her favorite.
Exactly. How did he even know that? It's such a small detail. But it suggests he's been paying more attention than either of them realize. It contradicts the whole I hate you narrative.
It totally does. It shows he actually sees her, at least a little bit. And that kind of paves the way for the ski trip, doesn't it?
It does. The forced proximity there, plus vulnerability, like him helping with her injured stomach.
That felt like a real turning point. The physical closeness, the care, and then her falling asleep, them waking up tangled together. It's like their subconscious minds were ahead of them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Physical closeness and shared vulnerability, it really does lower defenses. It creates a space for something different than just fighting.
Which naturally leads them straight into, well, not a relationship, but that arrangement.
Yes. The friends with benefits deal, minus the friends part.
Right. Josh proposes it Seems like purely for the physical chemistry, wanting to avoid actual dating.
And Jules hesitates, but then agrees. Maybe partly because it's a challenge, and partly because of that attraction they've both been fighting.
Seems likely. But the key thing is, even though they say it's just physical, it doesn't stay that way, does it?
Not even close. The jealousy pops up almost immediately. Josh at the library, Jules seeing him with Ellie.
Yeah. Those reactions show it's way more than just sex. There's possessiveness there, concern about who the other person is paying attention to, classic signs of something deeper developing.
Absolutely. And even during their physical moments, you still see flashes of real care. Like Josh checking on her at the club when she wasn't feeling well.
That felt important. It wasn't part of the deal. It was just him caring. Their physical connection is obviously intense. The book makes that very clear. But it gets tangled up with these real emotions pretty fast.
And then external problems really push things forward, don't they? Max and the blackmail situation.
Oh yeah, that throws a huge wrench in things. Suddenly, Jules is incredibly vulnerable.
And Josh's reaction, pure protective instinct. He's furious for her, wants to fix it. That shows a real emotional investment way beyond their initial setup.
It definitely does. That protective urge is powerful. And then the whole drama with the stolen painting.
Right. Jules does something pretty desperate there, and Josh's reaction to finding out, it leads to that huge confrontation.
Where everything starts to really break down between them. Her confession, his anger. But eventually, some understanding starts to creep in, right? Even though it takes him a while.
It does. He has to process it, but he eventually gets there. It seems like these big crises, these moments where they're forced to be honest or vulnerable, are what really chip away at their defenses and make them see each other differently.
Yeah, it's like the pressure cooker finally forces them to confront what's really going on underneath all the fighting and the physical stuff.
And after those crises resolve, you see a real shift. Josh actually waits for her. That's huge, considering how dismissive he was at the start.
It really is. And him confessing to Ava that he loves Jules, that's a massive step. Admitting it out loud.
Huge. And then you start seeing all these quieter, softer moments. The cuddling, him taking care of her injuries, her doing the same for him. They start sharing things about their families, their pasts.
Yeah, the intimacy level just skyrockets. It's way beyond the physical arrangement, way beyond the initial hate. It's genuine connection.
And the scavenger hunt date Josh plans.
Oh, that was amazing. So thoughtful. It showed how much his perspective had completely changed, the effort he put in. It really solidified how deep things had gotten.
A total transformation from their early days. And once the external stuff gets resolved, Max dealt with, thanks to Dante Russo, the painting returned.
Right. Once those threats are gone, they can actually focus on just being together.
Yeah.
Building something real. Even Ava comes around eventually.
Yeah, for acceptance is important too. It all leads towards them having a real future. Jules passing the bar exam is a great moment for her and for them as a couple.
And that trip to New Zealand at the end feels symbolic, doesn't it? Like cementing their commitment, looking forward together. It's quite a journey they take.
It really is. From intense hatred to, well, love. It's a powerful story about how complicated emotions can be and how vulnerability can change everything.
Absolutely. Their story, even though it's fiction, really does give you a look at how messy attraction and conflict can get, and how sometimes the most unexpected connections turn into something profound. We hope exploring Twisted Hate gave you some, aha moments about all that.
And for more analyses like this, more discussions that dig into the books you find captivating, definitely check out our Mindful Moments series and, of course, our other podcasts right here on our platform.
Yeah, definitely do that. And maybe think about this. Are there relationships in your own life or ones you've observed where that initial friction kind of gave way to something else entirely, something unexpected?
It's an interesting thought. What did it take, to bridge that divide? What allows that kind of shift to happen?
Good questions to ponder.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you enjoyed this exploration, please do subscribe and maybe share it with other people who love getting into the nuts and bolts of storytelling.
And you can find a link to buy Twisted Hate in the show notes if you want to read or reread it after this.
Most importantly, just keep thinking critically about the stories you read, the media you consume, and, well, the world around you.